Hey you guys, welcome back to Angela, and on this topic I wanted to talk to you guys about how narcissists need empaths to give them common sense. Narcissists need empaths to give them common sense. What do I mean by that? I mean that because they have no emotional stimulation as far as having empathy for others, what they do is that they mimic empathy. They mimic what someone should be doing or how someone should be feeling according to what's happening around them. And a lot of times, because they need an empath to basically teach them how to have that emotional stimulation, when it's the right time, or to teach them common sense on their own behavior or what they should do next, because they need the empath so bad. Without the empath, the narcissist is bound to destroy themselves. This is why I wanted to talk about this, because it took me a long time to realize, the seriousness of this, because we know about the flying monkeys, right? We know about all of these different people the narcissist uses to stimulate them, to feed their addiction, to feed their lies, to feed their delusional world that they have made up for themselves. Because these are delusional people, these are delusional people. And I even found it kind of funny because I had made a video on how the narcissists, they get high off thrills, being surrounded by people who are asleep. If they're around people who are at bars, who don't know what's going on, or they're at a concert, the narcissist is the type of person that they're working these events, right? They're working at a concert and they're getting their emotional stimulation based on the crowd, and they're so delusional they start to believe that this performer, this artist, is paying attention to them, or they start to believe that people are looking up to them, that when people aren't even looking up to them. They like to have this sense of superiority where they actually believe that everyone wants to be them, everyone is looking up to them, everyone wants to be their friend. They think that people are just naturally drawn to them, and what they don't realize is the only reason that they have any type of attraction, they're getting any type of attraction from others, is because they have stolen energy from an empath. So a lot of times when they're showing you this, this personality where they're, the world is revolving around them, and they're showing you all of this confidence and stuff, all that confidence is coming from an empath. It's coming from somewhere, you just don't know where. This is why a lot of times the narcissist will leave you for someone they think is an empath, or someone that they feel like is better than you. And, their perception is totally wrong, and they've just bumped into another narcissist, and then they'll come back to you like they didn't just disrespect you, like they didn't just act out of character. When in reality, they could have left in a way where it was less destructive for both of you, but they do it in a way where they think they're smarter than you. And then when they come back, they just look dumb. They look pitiful. And you'll think to yourself, it's the flying monkeys that have the narcissist, that's fueling the narcissist. And sometimes, you get to once you start to outgrow the narcissist, and you realize that they've been manipulating you, that they're not really that intelligent the way you thought they were. Maybe you were young, they were older than you, so you just assumed a lot of the things that they were telling you was truthful because they lived longer than you, but you didn't know that this person preyed on you because they saw something in you. They saw your power. They saw that you are capable of more. You're capable of being better than them in many ways, or you're able to achieve many things without them. They see your potential, before you even see it. And that's when they come for you. So that by the time you realize the potential that you have, and you realize that you should have appreciated your life a little bit more, once you realize the spell that they've put you in, the trauma that they've created, you realize that you were actually better off without these people, because of their lack of emotion, their lack of empathy towards others, and their sense of needing and feeling, really needing to be better than others no matter what, whether they're destroying themselves, trying to destroy you, that type of evil, that type of greed. Because you don't see that at first, you're blinded by whatever they're telling you. And once you wake up and you realize that, and you realize that they never really had that type of power, but now they've ruined you so much that you feel like you can't do better. You feel like, hey, if I'm in this hell with this person because this person dragged me down here, I might as well still keep entertaining them because I don't have anything else. And what you don't realize is that even in those moments where you feel down and you feel like you have nothing, or you feel like you've went through a lot of trauma, or you lost a lot of people that, were good people in your life, and you just, you chose that narcissist over, these people. What the narcissist wants you to believe is that you're stuck there. Right? They don't want you to understand the power of forgiveness. They don't want you to understand that you can right your wrongs. You can go to people that you probably ignored because you were so busy in the narcissist world, or people that warned you. You can actually mend these relationships, because a lot of times these people warn you because they've been there before, or because they're currently going through those things, and they're just like, hey, don't do it to yourself. And once you do, it's like some of these people won't ever look at you the same, because they only see you to the capacity of intelligence from what they witness. And what they witness was you allow someone to overstep your boundaries, who lacked common sense. So a lot of people, they start to project how the narcissist is, their behaviors onto you. So what the narcissist tries to make you believe is that you don't have any power. And that's why they feel like they can keep coming around, keep getting energy off of you. And as long as they can keep you down, they feel like they can come around and they could still suck the energy force out of you. Once you get to that point where it doesn't matter, you have this type of inner peace that it doesn't matter how much, it doesn't matter if you're rich. You don't look at finances, and you don't look at certain things the same anymore, because all you're worried about is having inner peace within yourself. What you will start to notice is that the person in front of you is not who you thought that they were. So when they talk to you about certain things, you can't relate to it. When they hate on certain people, or they say certain things that can land them either in trouble or behind bars, or they can put themselves in a situation where they can basically ruin themselves, and you're trying to warn them, that their friends aren't their friends, and you're trying to tell them like, hey, I understand that you want to make yourself seem smart, and you want to be superior to everyone, and you like that you have flying monkeys and followers around you. But what you're not understanding about these flying monkeys around you is that they're on a lower frequency than you are. So just like the narcissist doesn't appreciate you and your energy, they don't realize that the people around them also do not appreciate their energy, and they really don't look up to the narcissist. See, the narcissist believes these people look up to them because they come around the narcissist. But just like the narcissist comes around you for energy, and they believe they don't need your energy, those people around them also come to the narcissist. And that's what makes the narcissist feel as if they're in some type of control. So even if these people are low frequency, or the next supply is low frequency, the narcissist, they don't care that they're dealing with low frequency people, because they feel like, as long as I'm in control, I have power. So, for example, in my case, like the narcissist, they thought because they got with someone else that they met at their job at a bar that they were working at the time. At the time, I was also working at a bar, at a different bar, but they were working from a different position, where in my position, I'm bartending, I'm giving people drinks. So I understand I understood more about how people behave. And me and that narcissist, obviously they have found a new supply that drinks beer, and I don't drink beer. And I told them, like, most women that drink beer at these bars, they're being influenced by other men, because they even get the same type of beer that man is drinking. Like, if you're really different, you're going to drink a different beer. You're going to say you don't like beer at all. And I remember being someone that didn't have my own mind, and I remember just going along with what everyone was doing until I finally realized, hey, I don't like this stuff. Or I'm not going to smoke just because everyone smokes, because my body doesn't react well to it. So being low frequency just means that you're a follower. You just do what other people do. So they were trying to make it seem like, these other people are better, because to them it's like, oh, this person's doing financially better than you, or this person comes from a better family. But having a low frequency has nothing to do with finances. And that's what the narcissist does not understand. Frequency has everything to do with empathy, with morals, with loyalty, with boundaries, with respect. And a lot of times what they don't realize, because they're so busy trying to get power, is that the only reason they have that power is because they're dealing with some type of empath in their life that is giving them the energy to make them believe they have that power. So who are these people that are giving the narcissist free energy? This could be their brothers, their sisters, their cousins, their mothers. The mother is the big one, because they're getting away with a lot of stuff, especially if they don't have a mother that is letting them know that certain things are wrong that they're doing. Because you'll have certain people that love their kids. They have the right to love their kids, but you have those parents that are just as narcissistic, and they have a love-hate relationship for those parents, because they know that their parents are secretly trying to destroy them. So, the narcissist feels like there's no love here. Everyone is full of it. And because of this, they feel like they need to steal energy from the innocent, from children that are innocent. They go and pray after kids, teenagers, and they feel like, hey, if you're able to talk to me, a grown up, then that means I could take advantage of you. Or if your parents gave you a phone and I'm able to have access to you and brainwash you or send you money, then I have power over you, or you deserve for me to basically hurt you or get over on you. Or if they feel like you came from a bad family and you're trying to get out of that bad cycle, you're trying to break that, generational curse, because you're an empath and you were born into a narcissistic family. The narcissist will come into your life and disguise themselves as being an empath, when really, they're a narcissist, and they're really, they have that same vibration your family has, but in a different way, because they have no ties to you. So that's them not having any ties to you. They're only seeing what they're seeing right there in the moment. It doesn't matter how much you tell them about your life, what you've been through, because to them it's like, okay, none of that stuff matters. What matters is right now. And right now you don't get along with these people. Right now you don't really like these people. Right now you don't really know yourself. And they think, they'll come preying on you, and they're way older than you, and they'll come prey on you because they feel like, hey, if you aren't born into a family that loves you, then you're always going to feel a void in your heart because of this. You're always going to be in pain. And if you're in pain, it means that you're basically a discarded item. And that means that I can use you, because someone else discarded you already, or your mom is on drugs. You might be a good kid and they're like, oh, your mom's on drugs or your parent is on drugs, so I'm going to come and take advantage of you. Or, you're being raised by your grandmother. They're thinking, oh, you're not being raised by your parents. Something happened in your life that, you're being raised by your grandparents. So now that's giving me a reason to take advantage of you. That's how soul sucking these people are, because they do it with an intention. And once you grow up and you figure out what happened to you, or you figure out that you really got into the hands of someone that was wicked, you realize looking back, like, oh, they targeted me for a specific reason, whether I was a single parent, whether, I'm just a woman, whether I'm, LGBT, and I'm going through my own, troubles, tribulations, because I'm trying to find myself. They come in a time where you still haven't found yourself. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It just comes they come in a time where you haven't found yourself. And a lot of times the narcissist has ruined their life, or they have put themselves in situations where they keep thinking that they're going to make things better. It's like they keep trying to patch up a hole. There's a leaking hole with water coming rushing out, and they just keep putting a Band-Aid on top of a Band-Aid on top of a Band-Aid, knowing this water is going to overflow and explode, and all these Band-Aids are going to be wiped out anyway. You're literally telling this person, yeah, I don't have a lot of water on my fish tank because you took it to overflow your tank, but your tank has a hole on it, so you might as well get on my tank in order to survive, and we'll figure it out. But if you don't figure it out, then you're going to destroy yourself trying to destroy me, because eventually this tank is going to leak, and then you're just going to be a fish without water. You know what a fish without water looks like? So the narcissist wants to validate. See, narcissists, just like they pick arguments with you, and they'll pick any little argument with you to discard you, they'll pick any little thing to tell themselves that it's okay to take advantage of you. So it doesn't matter how much you cry. It doesn't matter how much you plead. It doesn't matter how much you tell this person, hey, if you want to be with me, this is what I want. They'll lie to you just to continue using you, because at that point, they've already validated in their mind why it's okay to mess with you. Whether they feel like, hey, you don't deserve. They might look at you and they say, oh, this person doesn't deserve to get married. Or this woman, she's not marriage material, so I'm going to take advantage of her. And that person might be marriage material, or they might just have a couple of things that they need to work on. But it's okay, because that person hasn't completely found themselves. And their goal is not marriage. They're still a kid, or they're still finding themselves. But the narcissist is telling themselves, oh, you're not marriage material, so I can take advantage of you. I can use you. I can do this to you. So this is how they take you away from everything that you know, because they know they found an empath. The moment that they pick on you, the moment that they start talking about you physically or spiritually, or just, they're judging you based off how much money you make, where you work. Once they start throwing these jabs at you, or they keep comparing themselves to you, comparing their intelligence to you, comparing what they have compared to you, comparing that, they have better friendships than you. They start comparing themselves to you. And it's only because they've already made up something in their mind to validate the reason why they're going to use you. And, I say this because I learned the hard way. Because once I left that person and, I started dating, I remember I started dating, and this was one of those times where I just was done with the narcissist. I wasn't planning on going back. I finally had told myself, okay, this person left you. They never came back. It's time to start dating. And, the person I was dating at that time, because this was a long time ago, but at the time, this person started taking me to all the places I always wanted to go to. And I didn't tell them to take me to those places. They took me to those places, and these were places that I had already visualized going to. And that's when I realized, oh, the narcissist is trying to stop you from being your highest self. They're trying to bring you down to their level. Not only that, but the narcissist takes the joy out of everything to the point where even if you want to do these things by yourself, you're just not in a happy place. You don't have peace in your life because you're surrounding yourself with someone who's in hell. So they'll say all of these things about you, and they'll tell you what you do deserve, what you don't deserve. They'll sit here and play games with you on your birthday, on holidays, and they're doing all of this because they're miserable. They're doing all of this because maybe they grew up not celebrating these things. Maybe no one cared about them. Maybe no one celebrated them. So they have all this deep hate, but they won't admit it to you. Maybe they did have celebrations, but during those celebrations, no one really cared about them or their emotions or cared about their ideas for their parties, or, no one was really in tune. So you're dealing with someone who's out of tune with reality. And you can even, be on the same page with the narcissist, because me, myself, I don't celebrate certain things either. And I don't believe in certain things as well. So, I realized, a lot of people complain about the holidays and things like that, but I realized it had nothing to do with that. They just simply want to take the joy out of everything. But when they came to you, they came as someone who was empathetic, someone who was driven, motivated, someone with goals, with a future, when they know they didn't have a future to look forward to. And they don't even care if you try to make things easier on them, because they rather be in a competition with you. And because they're out of tune with reality, they need people around them that are yes people, that aren't going to question them. And a lot of times, because you still haven't found yourself, you won't question the narcissist, because you're just happy that you found someone that is empathetic like you, only to come to find out later on that this person has no empathy. What you will also realize in that relationship is that, most relationships, you're being tested. And even when you leave that relationship, that you have to test someone's spirit when they come around you. So you learn a lot of things from the narcissist, don't get me wrong. Because, you'll be in other situations where people will also test you, and you'll think that they're a narcissist, but you end up realizing that that's not their whole game plan is to make sure that you're not the narcissist. It's a whole test. So you realize the narcissist tested you for no reason. The narcissist put you through a test when in reality, they were the only ones feeding off of you just to get some type of common sense. They're just someone who only thinks about themselves. Even if you're putting them in a position where it's going to benefit them or help them, they're that demonic that they don't care. And they use the empath for common sense. So they're sitting here in these relationships with you, and what you will notice is that while they're with you, they're thinking less of you. They think that you don't deserve happiness, you don't deserve marriage. The statistics are so low because there's so much narcissism going on that you don't have a chance of really finding true love anyway. So I might as well just use you. And that's how they're viewing empaths and people that open up to them, because they feel like anyone who opens up to me, they have to have a low frequency, because I'm not that bright. I'm just really good at manipulation. I'm really good at showing people that I'm confident. I'm really good at talking. I'm really good at making you feel comfortable. I'm really good at connecting with others. But the only way the narcissist will connect with you and show fake empathy is if they're trying to get something out of it. So if they're trying to lure you into the relationship, that's when they're showing empathy, which means that they know when to shut it off. They know when to use it, when to shut it off. And a lot of times, they're not telling you that they're constantly plotting on you, right? So once you realize that they've been talking about you to flying monkeys, what you also have to understand is that they're using the flying monkeys for common sense. But a lot of times they're spending all this time with you. So you're wondering, well, they don't even spend a lot of time with these flying monkeys. They only come around these people when they want to gossip about me, and talk bad about me, or they're trying to project what they did and try to put it on me, so that's when they come around these flying monkeys and family and things like that. But what you don't even understand is just the same way that they use you, when they talk to you about their jobs, or they talk to you about people or anything that they're excited about, and you're not a hater. So no matter how bad that person has treated you, you're still giving them energy. You're still motivating them. You're still telling them they could do it, because you wouldn't want someone to do that to you. Because to you it doesn't make sense to try to put, it takes too much energy trying to put someone down. So you don't even speak that language that they speak. You guys don't speak the same language. But you're trying to understand their language. You're like, I'm trying to understand them because I know that this is a hurt person, and I've been hurt too. So you try to relate to them. But they're using all of those stories about being a hurt person as ways to manipulate you, and you don't even realize that they're not an empath. That's not who they are. They're pretending. So who are they pretending? Where did they get this fake empathy from? They got it from movies. They got it from past supplies. So the person you're dating is a combination of different people, right? And what's so trippy about this, right, with my experience, is that when the narcissist would talk bad about others, his siblings, he was always closer to one sibling than all of them. And I would think to myself, like, what's so special about that sibling than his other siblings? The thing is that his other siblings go against him, and that sibling plays like the nice guy. But the crazy part is when the narcissist isn't around, that same sibling that's displaying, signs of empathy, they're also coming around. They still have a relationship with the other siblings. The narcissist wants this sibling all to himself, but when he's not around, the sibling is still interacting with everyone else, which forces the narcissist to interact with everyone else. But if it was up to them, they wouldn't want that person that they look up to interact with the narcissist, because they're almost in this relationship with this person. Like, they're in this emotional relationship with this person. So what you'll notice with a lot of narcissists is that they are already emotionally tied to someone else. So if you're dealing, like in my case, I'm dealing with this guy, he's emotionally attached to his brother. But this could be, any narcissist attached to, their father, their mother, it's someone that they're telling all their secrets to. It's someone that they're talking to in a way where you would probably expect them to talk to you as your partner, but instead they're even bad mouthing you to these people, and it almost seems like they're together and you're like, well, what am I? Like, what am I supposed to be? Because you're confused. You're like, what's going on with this narcissist? A lot of times, they've overwhelmed these people, or they know they're overwhelming them, and this is the only reason they're staying in relationships, to get supply, sex, other things from other people, finances, but they already have some type of emotional attachment to someone else. The reason he's emotionally attached to his brother is because he didn't have a man in his life. He didn't have a real father. He had his dad around, but his dad wasn't really around. So he never really had a father. And then now that his dad comes around, his dad acts like his brother and not his father. So he's getting his emotional intelligence from his brother. And when I started to come around his brother, I always felt like they had this best friend relationship. And I would think to myself, like, they laugh the same, the way they laugh, the way they talk, they sound the same. Like if you hear them on the phone, they sound the same. And the more I started to get to know how narcissists work, how they have to feed off of an empath to have common sense, I realized that just in my relationships with friends, people that I thought were empaths, and, they would call me about their problems. And eventually I'm teaching these people common sense. And I'm starting to think like, wait, if I'm teaching you common sense and you're claiming to have empathy, and that means that everything I'm teaching you when it comes to common sense, just the simple common sense on how to have just respect for others. If I'm teaching you something like that, immediately now I'm having red flags, because I'm like, so you're not catching it. So I'm trying to understand, well, once I teach you common sense, are you going to learn from it, or are you going to reject what I'm telling you and still do whatever you want to do? Because narcissists want your opinion, but then they'll still do whatever they intended to do in the first place, because they just don't respect it, because they just don't see the point on having values or respect or anything like that. But what I started to realize was that they'll start looking up to you for advice, because every time you tell them something, it happens, because they're living in sin. They're living in evil. So evil things are constantly happening to them. So when they find someone with empathy, it could be someone, and it might just not be you. You're thinking, why does a narcissist, I'm telling them the same thing their brother is telling them, but they're only taking it from their brother. So it makes me feel like they're trying to get their emotional intelligence from them. They don't want to use me as someone who is supporting them. They want me as just a sex slave or something, because they're getting that emotional support, that empathy. They're getting it from someone, and they're not all the way taking that person's advice either. They're only taking bits and pieces of that person's advice because they respect that person, but they're also not going to do every little thing that person tells them to do. But for the most part, that's the person they talk to. That's the person that they get their emotional intelligence from. That's that person that is able to tell the narcissist that what they did was wrong, and they'll listen to that person, because the narcissist, they're like a little kid in a lot of ways. They're like a child. This is why, you'll think to yourself, well, why are they being nice to other people, but they're not being nice to me? Or those people don't really do anything for them, but they treat those people with more respect or validation. They have that, you can't sit with us, you cannot sit with us, and very disrespectful energy, where it's like they don't know anything about respect, and they're just living in this like really delusional world, like, oh, you're not my dad, you're not my mom, they're like a little kid. So I realized like, oh, wow, he's getting a lot of times when things are happening, they're running to people, they're running to their flying monkeys, they're running to that flying monkey, that brother. And I'm thinking like, why are they always running to them? And I told them the same thing. And it's like it went one ear out the other. Why is it that they only find this person as someone to respect, right? And this person doesn't really have anything to offer them. Well, not really. They don't have anything to offer the narcissist. So I'm thinking, what's going on right there? I'm thinking, okay, it's some daddy issues. It's some type of hatred towards women. They're literally on this hamster wheel where they have to make sure that there's a common denominator, which is you. In my case, the woman in his life. And it's like they need to make sure that they have an enemy, and they're in this hamster wheel repeating the same cycle over and over and over again, and you're watching it happen because they have no common sense. But they need the empath, and his brother is clearly an empath. And I've been around his brother, and I'm thinking, what's the difference between this brother and the other brothers? The other brothers have kids and different women, and this is the only brother that doesn't have children. This is the only brother that doesn't have different women. This is the only brother that, for the most part, I see him by himself most of the time. Like, he's in his own world. He's working out. I don't see him with different women. I don't, you could tell that he doesn't have the energy to just go around playing with people's lives. Like, he doesn't have that. He doesn't give me that energy when I'm around him. And when I've been around him, a lot of his characteristics, I see those characteristics that the narcissist has in him. So I started to think to myself, just like these people that I once thought were empaths, and come to find out they weren't empaths, because they're just calling me to validate what they're doing, how they're doing it. They're seeing what's my emotional response, because they're like, okay, I just did something really messed up. Let me validate this through someone else. And they want you to validate them for doing bad things to others, right? These are even women. They'll come around you. They do things and they want you to validate what they're doing, cheating. They want you to validate that as their friend, right? But when you don't validate what they're doing, they turn on you. They don't want to be your friend anymore. And there's only certain people in their life that can tell them the truth without them behaving like children. There's only certain people that can do that. And you have to ask yourself, why? What is it about those people? Because I started asking myself why. Because I realized, even with certain narcissist women that I had in my life, it's like I would have to tell them little simple things. Like, I would come around their families and their kids are like, I wish you could be my mom, or saying little things to me like that. And I would tell my friend, like, hey, I think you should spend more time with your friends. Like, instead of calling me on the phone, you should just spend more time with your child, because they obviously feel neglected. Oh no, they're okay. I'm with them all day. They're with me, but they're in another room watching TV on video games. So your kid doesn't, if your kid is telling you they still don't feel like connected to you, even though they're in another room, they still feel a disconnection. There's a void and you're ignoring it because you're too busy thinking about yourself and the narcissist. To me, that's a problem, especially when you're calling me, asking me for answers. And I'm sitting here like, well, out of all this, do you feel sorry for your kid? And it's like, most people will say, most empaths will say, yeah, I feel bad. I know this is what I should do. I know I should have more energy to go out and do this and do that. I should have more energy to have, dinners, regular family dinners. But someone who's a narcissist will brush it off and be like, oh, I'm here with my kid all day. They know how to do this. They know how to do that. It's like they just ignore everything. And when they come to you and they know that you don't live like that and you have standards and you have a way of doing things, and because they respect you, now once you say something to them, because they're looking at you, these narcissists are looking at you for you to give them common sense. Once you tell them like, hey, common sense isn't so common, obviously, because this is something that should be natural. You should, as a mother, I thought that was something I thought that was part of a woman's intuition, is to know when their kid isn't feeling good and trying to heal them or bring them back to health. You would think that's common sense, but you would have to talk to these women and tell them. And then if they're someone who respects you, they'll start changing. They'll start acting like an empath, or they'll start copying you. They'll start moving the way you move. They start doing things the way you do. They'll start changing their hairstyle. They start mimicking you. They start laughing the way you do. And I'm like, this is creepy. This is creepy. So they're looking up to you for some type of emotional support and for common sense, just for common sense. And what I realized about these friendships that I was having, and then going back to connecting that relationship I was in, I remember telling the narcissist, I was like, you're a lot like your brother, but you're not. I said, I think that, what did I say to them? I said something like basically telling them, I think I fell in love with your brother because you guys have the same personality, but your brother has empathy and you don't. And it was something, among basically those words. And he was like, oh, well, what, you want to be with my brother? And I think that there's this thing inside of him where him and his brother can go out and get women together probably, but I think women are probably more drawn to his brother. And I think that because of this, they respect, it's like he respects his brother, but then he knows that there's something different about him and his brother, and he knows it's the empathy. And he thinks that empathy, it means nothing, but empathy means a lot, because without empathy you won't have any common sense, because you'll just let your hate, your greed, your jealousy take over you, and if you don't have empathy, there's not going to be a balance, and you won't have any peace no matter what you do. That's why you'll see that narcissists never have peace, and they always have to flock to an empath to bring them to that peace. So if the narcissist, if they're mad, if you get them mad, they're going to take mad anger to another level. If they're sad, they're going to look so sad, but it's like you've never seen them this sad, and they're trying to act like they're crying for you, but they're really crying for themselves. So I started to tell myself every time I wake up in the morning, the narcissist, instead of talking to me, they're calling their brother. They go to sleep, they're calling their brother. They constantly are calling. And it started to remind me of these narcissist friends I had to get rid of. And it reminded me of how much they tried taking my energy. And what's so crazy is they don't just take your energy, but then they're constantly doing things to get over on you. So it's like, not only are you taking my good energy, but then you're plotting on me on top of that. So I started to think to myself, okay, he loves his brother, he looks up to him, but there's a part of him that secretly hates him too. There's a part of him that's kind of envious and jealous of him too. There's a part of him that is trying to make it seem like he looks up to him, but at the same time, he doesn't want his brother to be happy. He doesn't want his brother to be in a relationship, because every time he's around, he's telling him, oh, don't have kids. Having kids is garbage. Don't have a family. Having a family is garbage. Learn from me. I'm your big brother. And even though he's the little brother, he's looking at him like, you don't have to tell me these things. Like, you could tell that he's just like this, like he knows how his brother is, so he just goes along with it. He basically, he has that look in his eyes, like he's seen so much bull crap within his own family, the narcissist, just the world, that he's like, you don't have to tell me, I see it. But the narcissist doesn't even realize that you're not the type of person that they should be running away from. And they don't even realize that their goal, their mission is to detach themselves from certain people, so that they can have a better understanding of themselves. And that's when I started to say to myself was, oh, the reason the narcissist was able to bamboozle you in the beginning is because he has the same personality his brother has, but he doesn't, because his brother has empathy and he doesn't. So they're each other's yin and yang, and because they're brothers, they understand each other, and they're closer to age. But that's what I started to realize. And I just started throwing jabs at the narcissist. And I'm like, I think your brother is the one with the emotional intelligence. I think, you always need people. You don't know how to be alone. You claim you're alone. You tell yourself you're alone because you don't have a lot of people. But you have your brother to call on. You have certain people that you can call on, and they're going to give you that emotional intelligence. You even have me. But me being by myself, me being discarded, me being used, betrayed, made fun of, everything that person put me through when all I did was help them, it made me realize, like, oh, you probably fell for his brother, not him. Because, the narcissist doesn't appreciate anyone. So this is why I can tell them, at least you have your brother, and they can say, oh, I don't have anyone, because they don't appreciate empaths. They only use us for common sense. Because when I would come around his brother, I would feel something. And it wasn't like I felt like an attraction to him. It was like I felt like I knew him because his personality was just like his. So I felt like I knew him, but it was like something was telling me, like, he's like who you think the narcissist is. It's like the inner me was telling me who you think the narcissist is. It's really him. But I don't have any emotional, I'm not attracted to him or anything. It was just his intellect, his spirit. It was something about his spirit. And that's when I was like, oh, the narcissist, they're a copycat. So obviously, this is the reason why their words don't match their actions. And this is the reason why this person's actions match their words. And when I'm around them, it feels authentic because it's real. This is why you never feel like you know the narcissist. You fell for his brother because he mimics his brother. And the narcissist tried telling me, he's like, if anything, my brother's trying to be me because I'm his older brother. And I'm like, no, I literally told him, I said, no, that's your little big brother. That's what that is. And that's why everything made sense after that, because I remember his other brother telling me the problem with him is that he doesn't want to separate himself from the brother I'm telling you guys about. The other brother told me that. So when he said that, it made me realize, oh, snap. Just like the narcissist uses us as a source of supply, they're also using the people around them, which is his brother. He's using that brother as a source of supply because he can't even emotionally connect to another woman because he's so busy connecting to his brother. So all the conversations he's supposed to be having with me, he's having them with his brother. And I started to think to myself, that's weird. And I'm like, well, no, it's not weird. There's something going on in the narcissist's brain where they just don't have any empathy. And because they don't have any empathy, I think a part of them is scared and they run to an empath to console them. And as someone that has been with a narcissist, what I realize is that once you start having common sense on your own, they don't like you anymore. So when you're young and you're dumb and you're just drinking, you're doing dumb stuff and you're hanging out with them and living in the moment, you don't see those things. But eventually you mature. Eventually you tell yourself, I love to, go out to have fun with my friends, but I also don't want to get a DUI. You start having common sense. You start telling you I can't do certain things anymore, right? Because now I have common sense. The narcissist is nothing like that. They become like a child in an adult body, and they're just like, I don't care about driving drunk. Go ahead, drive my car. Go ahead. It's like they're living in this fairy tale world, and they're behaving in a way where you would think a child would behave, So that's when I said to myself, okay, the narcissist, they got stuck at a certain age and they haven't emotionally developed. And if they're not able to emotionally develop, that means that they're only capable of having artificial intelligence, which means they're smart, they're able to take information, they are able to know the difference between right or wrong, but they're not able to understand why it's right. Why it's right to do the right thing. Like they can't connect. So they need someone in their life, a source of supply. And a lot of times we tell ourselves the narcissist took so much energy from me, but imagine how much energy they're taking from other people. And the only reason that they come around us taking energy from us is because they know that other people are getting tired of them. They know that other people are getting sick of their crap. They know that their brothers, other people are like, look, I already told you many times. Stay to yourself. Because I'm looking at the brother like, how come he doesn't have like multiple kids? How come all the other brothers that you don't get along with, they've made the same mistakes as you and you don't like them. But when I come around even them, they seem like they have more common sense than you because they learned from the mistakes that they went through, and they probably tried teaching you, but you didn't want to listen to them because you didn't respect them because you're a narcissist. So you respect this other brother, and he's telling you the same thing everyone else is telling you, but you only respect him because you're seeking for emotional validation. You're seeking for common sense from this brother. And this is what they do when you get with them in a relationship. They're seeking for emotional intelligence so that you can take them to the next level. This is why when they get around the new supply, all of a sudden they're changing their hairstyle, they're changing the way they look, they're changing the way they talk, they're changing their whole personality. And when they come around you, it doesn't even seem like they're the same person. The only thing that remains the same, it's their narcissism. So if they come around you, it seems like a whole nother person. But then those nasty traits, those ugly traits that they have are still there. Which means that it doesn't matter who they end up with. It doesn't matter how much they try to fake who they are. It doesn't matter how much they try to reinvent their image. Just like the empath reinvents themselves. But you have that inner peace. You actually know what's going on. You actually have emotional intelligence. You don't need anyone to give you common sense. So once you get to that level, the narcissist, they're not going to like you anymore. You're going to be useless to them, because anytime they say something that doesn't make sense and you try to make sense out of it, or you give them advice, they start an argument. Because they already targeted you because they felt like you don't deserve anything. Then on top of that, you're telling them something. Now you're pissing them off. Now you're getting emotional intelligence. Now instead of them thinking to themselves, okay, I thought this person was never going to amount to anything, but it seems like now they're getting emotional intelligence. Let me leave them alone. They do have common sense. It's me that doesn't have common sense because I need my brother to give me common sense. So instead of them thinking that way, instead they're angry and they want to break you down and they want to destroy you and they want to bring you down to their level. They want you to be on their level, on their frequency. And it doesn't matter how much they bring you to their level financially, because mentally you're still standing strong and they hate that about you. So, I hope that this message on how narcissists use people for emotional intelligence and common sense was helpful. These are just people that are manipulative. These are people that are delusional, that are stuck in their own world, that really believe that the world revolves around them. These are people that might not have common sense. These are people that just come up with plans and just run with these plans, and they don't have a backup plan. And even if they have a backup plan, they're so low down and dirty that they're willing to come back into your life knowing they've destroyed you, knowing they've ruined you, all because they don't have common sense. They know this. And they'll still come back around and they're like, hey, well, I don't have emotional intelligence. I'm retarded. Well, stop taking me back. Stop talking to me. Well, if I come knocking in your door, just don't open the door. They're like emotionally retarded. So, it sucks because, by the time they've ruined so many things in your life and you realize that this person has no common sense, and they tried to make it seem like you were stupid. It doesn't matter. You could, I remember telling the narcissist, Hawaii is part of the United States. You don't need a passport to go to Hawaii. I remember telling them. And they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. You do need a passport. I'm like, no, you don't. I said, let me Google it. And I started grabbing my phone to Google it. And I'm like, see? And he's like, well, maybe you're right. But I heard it wasn't. It's like they just don't stop the BS. They just don't stop. They just don't stop. They're delusional. Leave these people alone, because they'll bring you down their rabbit hole, all because they can't stop doing bad things. So they're bringing people down just because they're bringing themselves down. That's some sick, nasty crap right there, you guys. That's some sick, demonic, just unstable. out of this world type of thing. And then they'll blame you. You're like, you were older than me. You should have known better than doing this to me. And they're sitting here telling you, well, I'm a kid too in my mind. They're trying to justify their actions by telling you that no one taught them about love. No one taught them about respect. No one taught them anything. No one taught me any common sense. I'm sorry. And you're kind of like, dude, you're way too old not to have common sense. And they're almost blaming you when you were a child, when you didn't know any better. And now that you know better, you're wondering why this person was preying on you this hard. Why wouldn't they leave you alone just to live your young and beautiful life? Why are you so angry with me? I didn't do it to you. Be mad at your mom, your dad. I have my own problems. I have my own family issues and I don't take it out on other people. So these are the people that are emotionally retarded, have no common sense, and they'll ruin your life trying to project just so that they can make themselves look better. That's how sick they are. You can be in the same you could be in the same position as them, but they'd rather destroy you just so that they can look like they're emotionally more intelligent than you, just so that can feed them right there. That's feeding them right there. That's giving them fuel right there. And you're thinking like, you destroying me isn't going to help you. And they're just like, yeah, it is. It made me feel better. And you're looking at them like you're still retarded. You're still dumb. You know? Now we're both looking dumb, but you're dumber than me because I'm going to find a way out of this hell and you're just going to stay here because you won't have me to give you common sense anymore. And this is why you know when you leave them that everything is going to go bad for them because you won't be there anymore. So they want to believe that they don't need you, but why won't they leave you alone? You don't have any, even if you didn't have anything to offer the narcissist, they still won't leave you alone. Why? Because they know that most people look at them like they're beneath them eventually. People like them at first. At first, they're likable people. But eventually, because of their own greed, their own hate, their jealousy, them talking bad about others, running their damn mouth, it gets them in trouble. People start to side-eye them. They start to think to themselves. The narcissist thinks that people, they'll get around other people that they think are narcissists, and these people are not narcissists. They just have narcissistic traits. And then that narcissist hate takes it to another level where they get aggressive, where they're trying to fight you, almost kill you. And these other people aren't narcissists. They just have narcissist traits, and they're looking at you like you're crazy. And the narcissist is looking at them like they're crazy, like, oh, you're on the same level as me. Why are you trying to make yourself feel better than me? And they're looking at the narcissist like, because we're not emotionally retarded, we have limits. We don't go around messing with people we don't like for years because we're not low like you. We're not that low the way you think we are. You're the lowest of the low. And that's what they don't understand. That's why they can't take criticism. They can't take jokes. Like they feel like they can joke around with everyone else. And once people start joking on them, they take it to another level. And everyone is looking at them crazy. Like, hey, we were just joking. Like, we just say stuff about each other, but we don't really mean it. And even if we do mean it, it doesn't really matter because you should know who you are. You shouldn't allow what other people say about you to affect you. So they're looking at the narcissist like weird because the narcissist is plotting on them. You say something bad about them that embarrassed them, they're sitting here trying to plot on you like, next time I'm around this person, I'm going to hurt their feelings. I'm going to make them look stupid. I'm going to steal from them. I'm going to take from them. I'm going to try to get with their girlfriend behind their back. The narcissist is a very nasty, like vindictive person with no common sense. So, This is why it's important to keep these people away from your circle, from your group. They're going to try to get into your group, into your family right away. And eventually they're going to show their true colors. They're going to make themselves comfortable in your home. They're going to do things that you're going to look at them like, you're getting too comfortable. Like something's going on with you. Like you shouldn't be that comfortable with people. Especially after you've done them wrong. You know, they'll do you wrong and then they'll get so comfortable around you like they didn't do anything. And they know they did these things to you, and they're sitting here waiting for you to get them back, and they're already plotting. You're forgiving them, and they're already plotting on how to get you back just in case if you decide to seek revenge on them. And you're not even trying to seek revenge. They're just emotionally retarded, and, they need common sense. Common sense is if you feel like someone that forgave you is going to get you back, then stop trying to come around that person. Leave them alone. Let them apologize to you and move on with your damn life. Oh, this person apologized to me. I'm going to pretend to be their friend again because I secretly want to be their friend, but I also need to plot on them. Leave people alone. Be by yourself. Stop talking about it. Stop saying you're willing to be by yourself, but you really can't. You really don't know how to be alone. Oh, I don't have anyone. But you're calling your brother. You have somebody. There's people out here, empaths out here that really don't have anyone. That's when I knew it was BS. It's all about them. They want to destroy you just so they can look better, just so that they can look like they have common sense. And this is why some of these narcissists are even able to get to high places socially, is because of the women in their in their families, or women who are successful. Sometimes there's a empath that they're married to, or their partner is an empath. So these people, these narcissists, they try to climb up the social ladder by using common sense from the empath, because if they didn't have that balance, they would just destroy themselves, and they know it. This is why they keep empaths around. Even if they're not in a relationship with you, they need a friend. They need someone around. So don't believe these people when they tell you they don't need anyone. And, don't sit here and feel sorry for them, because if it was the other way around, they'll crucify you. So leave these people alone. Let them destroy themselves. You'll see. Months later, they'll be hoovering you. You'll see. Years later, they won't even look the same anymore. While you were with them and helping them and nourishing them, they were looking healthy. Their hair was looking shiny. Their face was clear. Their teeth were white and straight. Next thing you know, all that is gone. Let a year go by away from you, from common sense. They're out there living their best lie, lying to themselves, destroying themselves. And by then, they're too embarrassed to come around you, because even if you allowed them back in, they've realized that you have common sense and you have matured, and now they feel stupid around you, so they have to intentionally abuse you. And when it doesn't work, when your confidence is so high that it doesn't work, they're sitting here still telling you you have a low self-esteem. You have a low self-esteem. They start telling you things they used to tell you back then that used to hurt your feelings. They'll start calling you out of your name, and you're looking at them like, you've already done that so many times that I don't care about being called the B word anymore. Like, that doesn't hurt my feelings anymore. I don't cry over that anymore. And you start to see that all they're doing is trying to put you down, and everything you've ever done for them, they didn't even appreciate it. So leave these people alone. And I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, and peace in your healing. If you guys want to book with me, you can book with me following the description. Text me and give me like 24 hours to respond. If you guys are new to this channel and you guys enjoyed this podcast, do not forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, hit the bell button, you guys, so you guys can actually see my videos when I upload them. just because I've noticed certain people haven't been able to get access to my videos, and then they come around and they're like, oh, you're still making videos. Yes, I'm still making these podcasts. I'm still exposing these people, and I'm still on all these narcissists' necks. So, don't forget to share, you guys. And I'm sending you guys lots of love, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.